Hey, before we jump into all the hot Cowboys rumors flying around today, let's take a second to celebrate some great news off the field. Dak Prescott just became a father for the second time. That's right, Dak posted on Instagram that he and his fiancée, Sarah Jane, welcomed their second daughter into the world, Aurora Rain, and I've got to say, that's a beautiful name. Two daughters now for QB1, and as much as we focus on what he does on the field, moments like this remind us that these guys have full lives outside of football. So here's the deal, before we dive into the trade talks, injuries, and roster moves, let's show some love to Dak in the comments. If you're happy for him, type congrats Dak down below. He's earned it both as a player and now twice over as a dad. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's awesome and all, but does this kind of life event impact Dak's focus during the season? It's a fair question and one I'll throw right back to you. Do you think becoming a father again could inspire Dak to elevate his leadership even more this year? Let me know in the poll. Yes, it motivates him. B, no, it adds pressure. C, it won't affect his performance. Go ahead and vote, and we'll read through some of your takes in the next episode. But alright, back to the field because we've got a lot to talk about today. From a potential blockbuster trade involving Kyle Pitts, to some buzz around Donovan Wilson's injury and future with the team, and even a mystery brewing around George Pickens and his jersey number, things are heating up fast at the Star, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Cowboys updates. Alright, ready to get into these rumors? Let's start with the one that just won't go away, Kyle Pitts to the Cowboys. Is there something real behind this talk, or is it just another off-season fantasy? Alright, let's get into it. Kyle Pitts, you've seen the rumors, right? The idea of the Cowboys making a move for the Falcons tight end has been circulating for a while now, and once again, it's back in full force. So what's fueling all this speculation? For starters, the Falcons just signed tight end Ross Dwelley and drafted another one. That's on top of already having Pitts and Jonnu Smith. That's a crowded tight end room, and it raises the question, could Pitts be the odd man out? Now let's be real, Kyle Pitts hasn't quite lived up to that insane hype from when he was drafted 4th overall in 2021, but we're talking about a 6'6" athletic freak with elite potential. Pair him with Jake Ferguson in Dallas, and suddenly, Mike McCarthy would have a nightmare-inducing duo at tight end. But here's the key part, would the Cowboys actually make this move? Right now, the Falcons haven't shown any real signs that they're actively shopping Pitts. That's important. A few insiders are saying Dallas is interested if he becomes available, but no offer has been made, so as of now, it's all just smoke, but sometimes where there's smoke. Let's throw it to you, would you want the Cowboys to trade for Kyle Pitts? Type yes if you're all in, or nitrogen monoxide if you'd rather see the team focus elsewhere. And let's make it interesting. If you're a yes, what would you give up for him? A second rounder, maybe a player plus a pick? Because here's the thing, the Cowboys don't have a ton of draft capital to waste, and Pitts still has 2 years left on his rookie deal, so financially it could work, but it has to be the right price. Alright, coming up next, let's shift from potential additions to potential setbacks. There's a little concern brewing around Donovan Wilson. He's banged up again, and some fans are starting to worry about what this means for the safety room in 2025. Let's break that down next. So let's talk about Donovan Wilson. This one's flying a little under the radar, but it shouldn't be. Wilson hasn't been practicing lately, and it's all being chalked up to a soreness issue, but here's the thing, that's the same vague label we heard around this time last year, and we know how that turned out. He missed the early part of the 2023 season with a calf injury and never quite looked like himself the rest of the year. Now, no one's hitting the panic button just yet. But if you're like me, you've probably got a little voice in your head asking, is this a pattern now? Wilson's game is built around explosiveness, flying downhill, bringing the boom, being That tone setter on defense, but if he can't move like he used to, that changes everything. And the Cowboys' safety depth isn't exactly rock solid behind him. Sure, Malik Hooker is still a steady presence, and Juanya Thomas showed flashes last season, but relying on them to carry the full load if Wilson's not 100%, that's a gamble, especially when this defense is supposed to be elite, top tier. Every piece has to be clicking, so let me ask you this. On a scale from 1 to 10, how concerned are you about Donovan Wilson's health going into the season? Drop your number in the comments and tell me why. Is it just early off-season jitters, or are you starting to feel like this could become a bigger issue? And let's go one step further. Should the Cowboys consider adding a veteran safety just in case? There are still a few names out there in free agency, not stars, but experienced guys who could step in if needed. Alright, now that we've covered one of the more under-the-radar concerns, on defense, let's flip back to the offense, and one name that just won't go away. Yep. Amari Cooper, there's fresh buzz about a potential return to Dallas. We'll break down the latest reports, whether it makes sense, and what a Cooper comeback could mean for CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. That's coming up next. Alright, so Amari Cooper, the name that keeps popping up like a ghost from Dallas's past. Reports are swirling that the Cowboys might be interested in bringing him back, but is this a smart move or just a sentimental reach? Let's break it down. Cooper was a solid contributor during his time in Dallas, no doubt. He gave the Cowboys reliable hands and big play ability. But he's also had a history of injuries and some inconsistency, especially in recent seasons. So the big question is, would adding Cooper help this offense, or would it just create a crowded room and some awkward chemistry? CeeDee Lamb is coming off a career year and is clearly the WR1 now. Brandon Cooks brings speed and experience, and there's a lot of hope pinned on rookie Jackson Smith-Njigba. Bringing Cooper back could mean fewer targets for these guys, or it could open up the field in a way defenses don't expect. What do you think? Would you welcome Cooper's return, or do you feel the Cowboys should focus on developing their younger talent instead? Vote in the poll right now and don't hold back in the comments. Be honest, is this a move that excites you, or does it feel like the Cowboys are stuck in the past? And here's another angle. What kind of contract makes sense? Cooper's not the same player he was a few years ago, so if he comes back, it's probably on a short-term, incentive-heavy deal. Would you be comfortable with that kind of commitment? Before we move on, think about the bigger picture. The Cowboys are trying to build a championship-level team. Every addition, every move has to fit that plan. So if Cooper does come back, is it because he fits the scheme, or just because he's a known commodity? Next up, we're diving into some serious defensive updates, including the latest on Micah Parsons and whether his contract situation might finally be resolved. You won't want to miss that. So the biggest story looming over the Cowboys right now: Micah Parsons and his contract situation. The star linebacker has been in a bit of a standoff with the team, and honestly, it's been a roller coaster for everyone involved. Parsons is one of the most dominant defensive players in the league, no question, but the contract talks have been dragging on longer than expected, and that uncertainty can weigh on the whole locker room. The Cowboys know how important he is. He's the heart of that defense. From what we've heard, both sides really want a deal done soon. The team has shown willingness to meet Parsons' value, and Parsons himself seems eager to get back on the field without the distraction of negotiations. The question is, when exactly will it happen, and what will the contract look like? Some insiders say it might be a record-setting deal for a linebacker, given his impact and potential. Others caution that the team needs to keep salary cap flexibility for the rest of the roster. It's a tricky balance. Here's what I want to know from you. How confident are you that the Cowboys will get this deal done before training camp? Drop your prediction in the comments. And while you're at it, how important do you think Parsons is to this team's Super Bowl chances? Would you risk pushing too hard and potentially damaging the relationship, or is it worth it to get the right deal on the table? One thing's for sure, this contract saga is the story to watch over the next few weeks. It'll set the tone for the Cowboys' offseason and could influence how the team approaches other roster moves. Alright, that wraps up our deep dive into the latest Cowboys news and rumors. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more updates. Thanks for hanging out today, and as always, I want to hear from you. What's your biggest hope or worry heading into this Cowboys season? Let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next video.